Okay, so I want to talk continuation about the chapter 1024, and specifically more about. Also, this is gonna have big spoilers, as I said before. So if you don't have read the chapter yet, read the chapter first, then you can watch this video, because this is gonna be extremely big spoiler, because we're gonna talk about the end part of this chapter 1024. More speculation here than before. So what we see here is that Yamato is in prison in the cave with the three samurai, and one of the samurai is a swordsmith that Kaido wants to work for him and to make swords, and that obviously they refused. That's the reason why they are in the cave. And one of the samurai have exactly the same sword as Zoro have, after he have defeated the skeleton samurai in Thriller Bark, in that arc with Gecko Moria and this kind of thing. So what I think here is that, so as I said before, I think that samurai is Zoro's father, because they look very, 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 very similar. They are almost identical, and with their like the bandana over their half of their face to protect one of their eye. And when Yamato asks that samurai his name, and that samurai say, "I'm nobody special, and I am disgraced samurai," and so I'm a Roni. You can say I'm a Roni. So we never learn any of their name. So then they give obviously they give Yamato the rice bowl, the food, and then the guy that I think is Zoro's father, the same samurai Zoro fight against in Thriller Bark, cut Yamato's chain, and then later on they one of the samurai cut the stone that put against the door to the cave. So they then they escape. So they always have a ability to escape. So they against the imprisonment. So there's only Yamato that is left in the cave, and all they talk with them. So obviously the use of the information here is that we know now, since before, that Yamato is a Oni. The same for Kaido, that Yamato is Oni princess. So they are in Wano, but we don't know. All of the three samurais obviously was very inspired of Kyosuke Oden. They heard that Yamato want to be like him, because Yamato get inspired of Kyosuke Oden, and this kind of thing, for some reason. And then obviously Yamato showed them a book, the navigating book that, because Oden had written down when he was on his journey with Golden Roger. So all of this kind of thing is that I think the interesting thing here is that because we know that later on that samurai that don't want to say his name is later the samurai we see that Zoro fight against in Thriller Bark. But the interesting factor here, we also know that that Kaido and Moria fight each other, and they was equal at that time. And something happened later that Kaido just defeat all of Moria's crew and his original crew before he turned that crew to a zombies. So I'm wondering if that samurai in some way later on works for Kaido for some strange reason, and he was defeated and so on. It's hard to say exactly how that samurai ended up on that island, on Moria's island, as a skeleton, or how Moria just find his shadow to put in a form and so on. So that is, I think, it's the interesting part, is who these three samurais are, and why all of these three was put in a prison with Yamato in the cave. Obviously, one of them was refused to be Kaido's swordsmith, make sword for him, and this kind of thing. And that is obviously that is all the information we have about for the new thing. That is obviously a very, very big thing with all this information about the samurai and so on. So now we know who the rest of the samurais are. That the legendary samurais that was legendary protecting of Wano, the same as Kyosuke Oden was. But Kyosuke Oden obviously left Wano because he wanted to see the world, and first he joined obviously the Whitebeard Pirates, and then he left Whitebeard Pirate to work with Golden Roger as on his final journey. And then he come home, and then he was tricked, and then he was assassinated of Kaido, and then Kaido's daughter get inspired of Oden and want to be like him to defeat her father. So all this kind of, obviously because of the hatred between Yamato and Kaido, specifically for that, because of Kaido treat Yamato so poorly and so bad, and put her in imprisonment, and don't let her have her own vision and her own beliefs, and forced her in shame because she wants to be somebody that Kaido despise, and Kaido don't want his daughter to be like that, and this kind of thing. So and obviously with all of this interesting information about obviously Yamato, that she is Oni, and Kaido is probably also Oni. That makes it also interesting where do originally Kaido and Yamato come from. Where are they originally born, and what the original placement is. Because we know that Kaido can move his island with his devil fruit abilities, probably because of his awakening and his dragon form. And this is probably after Rock's Disebek was vanished, and so this was probably a bit so maybe some year later after he have left the Rocks Pirates, and this kind of thing. But we should also be interested to see who is Yamato's mother, and if she also is Oni, because they call Yamato Oni princess, and that maybe means that obviously Kaido is the Oni king, and then the mother has to be the Oni queen. But we don't know where they come from. We only know that they are close to they are in Wano, but we don't know where exactly. If they always have been in Wano, that is a possibility. But they have to be somewhere else when they was working with the Rocks Pirate with Big Mom, Whitebeard, and Golden Lion, Shaki, and some of the other members in that crew. And so we only know that Ace and Yamato is the same age. When Golden Roger, Ace was when Golden Roger was executed, Ace was born. Because Ace's mother keeps him in the womb for a very long time, so he will not be captured of the marine, and this kind of thing. And so Yamato, they live in the same time, and so there's a possibility here that with obviously Golden Roger and Kaido, because Kaido worked for the Rocks Pirates, that his daughter was born under that time when he was working for the Rocks Pirate, and after that, and under that time maybe Yamato's mother was taking care of Yamato under that time. And then when Rock Spider was defeated, maybe happened something to Yamato's mother. I don't know what happened, but something maybe happened. And then Kaido take care of Yamato. And obviously Kaido obviously probably see from the start Yamato as a strong weapon that he can use to have as his protection for the island when he is out with his pirate crew. And after obviously the despisement of his daughters comes probably after Yamato start to call herself Oden. And then was the father and daughter's connection maybe was broken because Kaido don't like Oden, because Oden fight against Kaido, because Oden wants to free his country from the corruption and occupation of Kaido and his pirate crew, and like this. And obviously Kaido works obviously then where he worked with Yamato Orochi, just because Yamato Orochi can give him specific weapons and this kind of thing. But then he have no need for Yamato Orochi anymore, because obviously he have Queen, and Queen use his virus and technological virus weapon and so on. And then King. So probably maybe in the next chapter or chapter after that, we may be gonna learn who was the old stars before King and Queen and Jack, and who they were replacing in the story. So obviously, one of my speculation obviously is that the member before Queen was Pizarro, that right now work for the Blackbeard Pirates. I think right now was the original member that worked for Kaido, and obviously, so he is one of the person. I think the other two I don't know, but I think King and Jack and Queen have not always been members of the Beast Pirate. I think they are not extremely new, but pretty new members. But I think Kaido have other members, but these members beside Pizarro was defeated in the battle against Gecko Moria. So he find new, stronger members, and that time obviously Pizarro was not as strong he probably is today. So for some reason he was kicked out, and he lost the battle. So probably was like that. I think as that the top rope was like Black Maria, Sasaki, Who's Who, Pepe, and Pepe's sister was like King and Queen Jack was before they defeat the original All Stars and take their places. So one of the original All Stars, I think, was Pizarro, and Pizarro was defeated probably of Queen, and then he left. He was kicked out, and then when Kaido was in prison, Kaido recruited King, the Wildfire. So he had that member instead. Instead of the weaker member he had before, he had King and Queen and Jack. He lost the war against Gecko Moria, and he escaped. He was the only survivor, and then he find new members, and he go for his revenge against Gecko Moria and defeat the whole of Gecko Moria's pirate crew. And Gecko Moria, everybody was killed. So Gecko Moria used his devil fruit to build more like a zombie army instead, zombie army of a reverence of legendary people. So the legendary people he have in his crew are not as strong as the original legendary are. So that example, that samurais we see in the cave, that Zoro fight against is sample one of them, but it's not only maybe 5% or 4% of original strength of that samurai. So that is also interesting. And that samurai is probably, so just my speculation here is that samurai with that sword, that we don't want to say his name, is Zoro's father, and Zoro was placed on an island when he was young to train to be the best samurai and so on, and that probably his father. So Zoro probably is somewhere originally from a place close to Wano, and because that samurai maybe lost a mission or lost it was something that he was disgraced because he kind of fulfilled his mission to commit Sobuku probably, and so this samurai was the only thing they have left as their dignity was they don't to refuse to work for Kaido. And something later on maybe happened to these three samurai that when they first was together, and then maybe they split up to go in different direction, and this kind of thing. So yeah, that is probably the only speculation I have here about the whole thing. So it's going to be more interesting to hear continuation of Yamato's flashback of her backstory, and then maybe that backstory will connect with Kaido's backstory, and we're going to learn more about Kaido and how Kaido joined up with the Rocks Pirate and all this kind of thing, and how later on how Big Mom gave Kaido his mythical devil fruit, and this kind of thing. So all of these kind of things are going to be very interesting. So and it looks like, since before, we don't going to have any breaks. Next Friday it's going to be chapter 1025 and all this kind of thing. Yeah, so that is my prediction for the whole thing. So that is obviously the chapter was really interesting. Obviously obviously the last part obviously is the most interesting part with Yamato and the samurai, and obviously when also the fun thing obviously in the chapter is when Usopp say that fear me, I was the person that defeat two of the Toporopos, because he knocks down all of them with he thinks that he knocks down all of the bad guys with his Conqueror's Haki, but obviously it was not him. It was obviously because Big Mom was fighting on the same floor, and because Big Mom have so strong Haki power, and so everybody, even if they are long away from her, the Haki they reach everybody. So it's because he's full out fighting. And this kind of thing. So that is very funny when Usopp thinks that he's the person that puts out all of the Conqueror's Haki, but obviously it was not him that had this capability. And the other thing is obviously we see Brook runs from the flame with Nico Robin, and we see also see Nami. So that part is not as interesting, and this kind of thing. Yeah. So and the front cover of this Shonen Jump is with again Monkey D. Luffy, and he holds a toy version of the Gum Gum no Mi, the Gum Gum Devil Fruit, and like you can close it, it's a whole Devil Fruit, and you open it, you have Monkey D. Luffy inside that Devil Fruit toy, and this kind of thing. And obviously we see Zoro and Sanji on the cover page, and that other page we see all of the Straw Hat, we see Jinbei, we see Nico Robin and the other members and so on. But you see in the cover page, you see that Zoro have the exactly same sword. That samurai is the skeleton samurai that sort of fight against in Thriller Bark. And that samurai, when we see him the first time, we see him as a skeleton, but now we see him how he was before he was turned to a soulless skeleton, and you see a very big similarity with that samurai, and with the similarity with Zoro. So there is some connection between them, and this kind of thing. So, and obviously, so this is, I think, before. No, I'm totally wrong. So this is after Oden was killed, and Kaido and Yamato Orochi have taken over Wano as their government leaders. So this is after that. So this is after Kaido have killed Oden, and so on, and the scabbards have fled, and so on. So this is after. So this is coming up to other speculation here. I can say it like this. Here's two speculation here. That samurai is Zoro's father. That is my first main prediction here. The second prediction is that samurai is Zoro, but because of that Kyosuke Oden's wife have a devil fruit that rewind time, turn time back, and there's a reason why Momonosuke is much younger than Monkey D. Luffy, because he rewind time. So that can be that, but in other sense that don't really make any sense, because I think like this. Forget that part. I think it's more like the first prediction obviously is that I think it's most likely that this is Zoro's father, that samurai with the same sword, and that samurai do not want to say his name is Zoro's father, and this kind of thing. So yeah, the other two samurais, I have no clue who they are. The most interesting looking samurai is with the painted face, but we know nothing else about these. We only know that one of the three samurai there are a swordsmith, but we don't know who of them are a swordsmith, or maybe all of them is swordsmith. So yeah, I really look forward right now to the next chapter. So I look forward to next Friday about all of this. So yeah, that is everything I really want to say about this. My speculation about the samurai and others' prediction about in this chapter. So yeah, hope you like it. Okay, bye.